Hey everyone, welcome back to Python Learning. In this video, we are going to discuss about certain practice problems related to custom functions. So my first question is, write a program to find sum of elements in a given list. So let me just start defining custom function. Define. So we need to find sum of list, right? So I'll just call it like the sum of list, and I'll pass a parameter like an a. Okay, a is going to be the list, and then initially I'll initialize my total value is going to be 0. And then I'll use a for loop in order to loop through a list. Here list is A, and then we'll write an expression total is equal to previous total plus 6. We all know that how we find a sum. We take first value, we add it with the next number. Whatever sum we get, with that sum we add it with the next number, right? So same logic we are using, and finally I'm going to return a total. Okay, now I'll just call this custom function, and then I'm passing a list of values like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, it's going to give me sum of elements in a list. Clear, same thing, whatever you people learned in a for loop, now we are just putting under a custom function. Now you can keep calling that function and you can pass a different values like 10, 20, 30, 40. So you should pass it within a list. Yeah, see, I hope it's clear. So next question, you have to write a program in order to find the common elements in two list. So let's say, for example, you have a list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have another list 5, 4, 8, 9, 7. So these are the two lists we have. So I'll define a custom function in order to find the common elements. I'll just call it like, the common elements, and I'll pass a parameter, two parameters, because we are passing two lists A and B. And then I'll just define, empty list, which is going to be common, so that, I can add all the common elements. First, I'll start with a for loop and I'll loop through a first list. I'm looping through A, and then I'll check, is that element present in a B? For x in A, I'm looping through A. I'll take element from A and then I'll check, is it in B? If it is present, that element should get added into the empty list using append function. Then, so finally, it has to return the common list. So let me call my function, which is common elements. Let me pass A and B. It's already defined. See, the common elements from A and B are like 4 and 5. What we are doing, we are looping through first list and we are checking, is that particular element available in a B? So it will take 1, it will check is 1 in B. Then it will take 2, it will check is it in B. Then 3, it will check in B. Then 4, it will check in B. 5, it will check in B. So clearly 4 and 5 present, so it will get added into the common list. Hope it's clear. Great. Next important question, write a program to remove duplicates from a given list. How do you remove the duplicates from a given list? Great. So we'll start with custom function. So it's all about a remove duplicates, right? So let me define a function name as a remove duplicates, and let me pass a list which is going to be A. Let me just remove this, yes. Okay, and then I'll just write an empty list which is unique, okay? And then I'll just loop through A. For x in A, I'll just write a condition that if x not in unique, understand, if x is not in unique, if x is not present in an empty list, that element should get added into the unique list. If it's present, it should not. Okay, finally, I'm going to return a unique list for you. So it will help you in removing all the repetitive values and it gives you just the distinct values. See, interesting. Hope it's clear. Okay. So we have two more questions. One more interesting question is, write a program to find the factorial of a given number. So how do you find factorial of a given number? So we know 5 factorial in the sense like 5 times, 4 times, 3 times, 2 times 1, right? So from 5 till 1, we just multiply everything. So I'll just define a custom function. So I'll just call it like, okay, let's give it like a factorial itself. I'll pass a number and then we'll just write a condition like, if x is equal to 0 or x is equal to 1, actually it has to return 1 because the factorial is going to be 1. Okay. Else what it has to do, I'll just initialize initial factors equal to 1 and then I'll use a for loop for x in range of, so I'll start generating values from 1 to x. So x should be included, so it should be 1 extra than what we are expecting. x plus 1, because 5 factorial means like 5 should be included, right? And then the expression is going to be factors equal to fact times 1, because fact times x, initial factorial, I defined it like a 1 because on multiplying 1 with any number, you always get back a number itself, right? Here. So finally, it should written a fact. Okay, great. So now let me call the factorial function. So I'll just call factorial of 2. See, it gives you 2. If factorial of a 0 is 1, factorial of 1 is also 1, factorial of 5, it will give you 120. 5 times, 4 times, 3 times, 2 times 1. So which is 120. Clear? So same question is solved even in a for loop. The same question I'm just putting under a custom function. That's it. And we can keep calling our function whenever we want, and we can pass the different inputs. Great. So next important thing that you have to study is, write a program to find the fifth Fibonacci value. You know what are Fibonacci values? You know what are Fibonacci values? Fibonacci value starts from 0 and 1. And next numbers are generated by adding the previous two terms. See, 0 plus 1 is a 1, then 1 plus 1 is a 2, then 1 plus 2 is a 3, 2 plus 3 is a 5, then 3 plus 5 is 8, then 8 plus 5 is 13. Like this, the Fibonacci series is going to continue. So what I'll do, I'll just define and let me call Fibonacci of, I'll just pass a number. Okay, so we'll just write a logic. So we have understood that initial Fibonacci value should be what? It should be 0 and a 1. Right, initial Fibonacci value should be 0 and a 1. So we'll write a condition in such a way that it has to return a value by summing previous two numbers. Right? So first let's initialize the first two values, which is 0 and 1, using our variables a and b, and then we'll make use of a for loop. Okay, here. So see here, so I'll just define a comma b is equal to 0 and 1. They are the starting values. Then I'll use a for loop for x in range of, I'll just start from 1 to that particular number. Okay, so for x in range of 1 to number. And then what I'll do, I'll use a logic like this. Let's say for example, if you have a 0, 1, how are you getting the next number? We are adding 0 plus 1. 0 plus 1 in the sense like 1. So can I say for x in range of, for every iteration, a comma b should become, what happens? First a value, understand here. Let me explain by writing. First case, a is going to be 0 and b is going to be the 1. So that is your 0 and a 1. For the next case, what will happen? You will perform a plus b, which is going to be 0 plus 1. You will get 1 itself. So now, initial AB was what? This was initial B. Now things will change, and we found this using A plus B. So now, don't you think for the second iteration, what would be the A and B? Don't you think your A and B is going to be this for a second iteration? So now what can I see? For every iteration, what should be A? A is going to be B. And for every iteration, the B is going to be what? A plus B. Done. A plus B. Here, so finally I'm going to return a B. So now let me just try to call Fibonacci. Fibonacci of, let's say I want Fibonacci of a first number. 0th index, sorry. Yeah. We wanted 5th index, right? Yeah. You can see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So actually it is starting from 0. 0 in the sense, I guess, we should not return a A, we should return a B. Sorry, we should not return a B, we should return a B. A. Yes. See, if I ask Fibonacci value at our 0th index, it's giving me 0. Fibonacci value at first index is also giving 0. Okay, it's better to start with, wait, if I start with 1, okay, 2, 1, yes, indexing should start from, number should start from a 1. So let me do one thing, I'll just make use of a for loop, okay, and I just want to print first 5 Fibonacci values. So if I want to bring the first 5 Fibonacci values, I'll just make use of for xn a range of 1 to 6 I'll give. 1 to 5 should be included, and then I'll say print. So Fibonacci of, I'm just passing x. Yes. Can you see? The first 5 Fibonacci values are 0, 1, 2, 3. If you wanted first 10, you can see 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34. So this is how the logic is going to work. Every time the previous two numbers are getting added. So don't return a B, always try to return a A. You have to return a A. Got it? Hope it's clear. So this is all about, custom functions that you people wanted to understand. In our next video, we'll discuss about, lambda functions, map, filter, reduce, plus comprehensions, and many more. Thank you. Happy learning.